Yo, what's up guys? We are back for Rent a Girlfriend chapter 409, and today we had a big reveal. Well, not really a reveal, right? It was more of confirmation on Kazuya's end. This chapter was giving him a little bit more confidence. You know, if you're not caught up with Rent a Girlfriend, because why would you be? This past arc that's been going on is we're basically in this lull state where Kazuya and Chizuru are no longer living together, and Chizuru like has these feelings that she's just not making super clear. You know, a lot of stuff has gone on during this time. Ruka tried to smash, Umi got rejected, and yeah, that's kind of the focus of this chapter in particular, right? It's basically Umi having a little discussion with Kazuya on what happened with him and Chizuru. From Kazuya's perspective, he doesn't really know what happened between the two of them. All he knows is that out of the blue, Umi texted him and saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you, can we meet up?" And their only like connecting tie is Chizuru. And basically Kazuya was kind of expecting the worst, right? And that's kind of the preface for this chapter. Here we have them actually meeting together. In the beginning parts of this chapter are really just Kazuya in his head. During this time, I'll just be putting panels up on the screen. But essentially, he's just thinking bad about himself. He's just thinking, like, why did he even call me out here? Is this like where it all ends? Is this where he says, I'm dating Chizuru and that you need to back off? But sooner or later, Umi goes and breaks the ice and says, how have things been between you and Chizuru? He's just kind of asking about the relationship, and he goes and says, you know, I went and I played soccer with her the other day, and we had a chance to talk about you. You know, Kazuya is, you know, kind of jealous here. He's like, I don't know, bro. It's just Rent a Girlfriend, bro. If you want to read it, you can read it, bro. It's a bad decision. And essentially what Umi is saying here is that she said that you guys got closer, but she wouldn't tell me any of the details. And then Umi also goes and brings up that Chizuru said that she wasn't dating Kazuya. And this is kind of where Umi's confusion is like stirring up a little bit, or I wouldn't say confusion, but like why he wants to know more, right? Yeah, I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead, but basically Umi goes on this whole like rundown on how girls usually just come up to him, talk to him, and try to, you know, start going out with him. And essentially Chizuru has always been, you know, pushing him away, and he doesn't really understand why that's the case. And I guess this is kind of where Umi's, I wouldn't say love, but I'd say more affinity towards Chizuru stems from, right? You know, all of his life, he has been kind of chosen by women. Jesus, dude, I feel like I'm like reading some Andrew Tate bullshit. But essentially, Chizuru is kind of like the first girl that doesn't just give him attention, right? And I think that's kind of what he likes about her. And he sees that there's this other guy in the way. And yeah, that's kind of, I wouldn't say it's like jealousy, but he definitely has like a crush or whatever on her, but it just doesn't seem like it's working out, and he just wants to know why. Since Umi has like literally no clue like how in the world they're getting closer to each other, he just goes out and says, did you kiss her? And of course they did, and Kazuya he's just being like a nincompoop here, like, you know, he's just blushing, flustered. I don't know, bro, like. But essentially their conversation, you know, just keeps continuing, and Umi is trying to say, or maybe explain to Kazuya that, you know, isn't it kind of weird that, you know, you kissed each other, but you're not dating? For him, it seems really hard for him to imagine Chizuru kissing anyone that she doesn't really like. That's kind of the gist of their conversation. Kazuya, during this whole time, he's just kind of thinking to himself in his head while the conversation is going on, like, Umi is just out of touch with reality and whatever. And I think in this situation, he wasn't picking up what Umi was putting down, right? Umi wasn't being very direct in this like conversation at the restaurant that they were having, or at least for Kazuya's, like, you know, you can't call him a numbskull, can you? Is that like an offensive term now? But essentially what Umi, you know, is kind of implying here is that Chizuru probably likes him, but Kazuya, he needs like a direct, you know, thing. And yeah, that's kind of that. After they finish at this restaurant, they're about to part ways, and Kazuya feels like he didn't get anything from this situation. He's like, was that seriously it? What was he wanting to hear? Like, what was he trying to discuss here? And yeah, he really just didn't get what Umi was trying to say, because as you know, well, as Kazuya knows, Umi confessed his feelings to Chizuru, right? And he is just kind of stuck up on that. He doesn't know what happened there. He doesn't know, you know, what's going on with Umi and Chizuru's relationship, right? But even though he's thinking these things, he's also thinking like, well, Umi's being nice to me, so it's not like, and he's, you know, he's just being so joyous, so it's not like he's trying to be like my mortal enemy, you know what I mean? But he's just also confused on why Umi kind of contacted him. He's really just, I mean, bro, it's just kind of pathetic, man. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, you know, in this situation, he really feels like he's in the chair, right? He doesn't know any better. He has his head hanging low. You know, while he's in the depths of his depression, like right as Umi-kun is like about to walk off, he goes and says, "To be honest, she rejected me the other day." You know, this shocks Kazuya a little bit. You know, Umi has this whole monologue saying, she said that she might be in love right now, and that she wants to face that person with all of her heart. He continues to talk about how there's nothing wrong with her. She's like a perfect woman. Dude, I should just hop back on League of Legends, bro. I should just hop back on League. But essentially, Umi was thinking, oh, I might still have a chance because she's just being so vague about everything. But he said that after talking to Kazuya today, he thinks that he should give up on his love or his fleeting feelings for Chizuru Mizuhara, because it is clear, at least in his mind, that, you know, Chizuru definitely likes Kazuya and they're developing their relationship romantically. You know, if I had any say in it, I would have just kicked her to the curb, but, you know, not Kazuya. So, but yeah, the last parting words that Umi has for Kazuya is, "I'm rooting for you, Kazuya. Show me how it looks for Chizuru to be in love." And yeah, he just walks up into the distance after that. And we get, you know, some panels of Kazuya blushing, holding his backpack like he's like a, you know, middle schooler. And yeah, that's kind of the chapter. The last page is a little foreshadowing on what's to come, because yeah, it was like Kazuya's birthday, you know, well, a few chapters ago, not now. And Ruka tried to give him, you know, I guess some pleasure, or I don't know, bro. But what we get here is Sumi. We get her writing a happy birthday note to Kazuya. So I'm assuming the next chapter is going to be a Sumi chapter, kind of, you know, coming full circle with Sumi's arc, I guess, or like storyline. You know, she really hasn't honestly been in the story in any real capacity since the movie arc, where I feel like her storyline kind of came to a close. But it is nice that, you know, she pops in from time to time. Like she was there for Chizuru's birthday and now she's here. But, you know, whatever. I feel like there's just so many, you know, missed marks with a lot of the characters in this story in particular. I still don't really know how we're going to fulfill any of Mommy's story, or how we're going to like kind of tie, I mean, I guess Sumi's character is just, I don't know, it's just like she's back, whatever, bro. But Ruka, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. Kibe, don't know what's gonna happen with that. There's just a lot of things I feel like we missed the mark on Rent-a-Girlfriend. You know, it is kind of, you know, romance slop, but I feel like it, you know, it's okay of a premise, definitely coming to a close. But yeah, I mean, about this chapter in particular, it was just kind of something that I thought already happened. I personally thought, like, when Umi first got rejected and he like called Kazuya, I thought that's when I thought that he told him that he got rejected, but that wasn't the case. And we kind of made this whole big meeting thing, you know, an issue. Here, I thought this was kind of underwhelming, right? Especially what we were coming off of last chapter, unless we're going to, you know, have Umi actually be like an evil villain and start escalating stuff with Ruka. Because off of last chapter in particular, we had like the last panel where Ruka was clinging on to Kazuya and like flirting with him, and Umi saw that. So I really thought that he was at least going to bring that up a little bit in this chapter, but that didn't happen. So I am kind of disappointed on that, because now I really have no clue how Ruka is going to tie into anything. So I mean, that's kind of this week's chapter, bro. There's another chapter next week. Probably gonna be some more slop. But yeah, that's really about it. If you want to stay up to date with any more Rent-a-Girlfriend, Rent-a-Slop, or whatever you want to call it, definitely like this video. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know any of your intellectual takes on Rent-a-Girlfriend. I would love to hear them. And if you want to check out any of the other series that I cover, or you just want to discover new series that are coming out right now, mostly in the romance niche, definitely subscribe. I am highly considering, I think I'm going to do it, start covering the new work of the author of The Goddesses of Cafe Terrace, because it is really good. I'm gonna be honest with you, read the first chapter the first week it dropped, the second chapter just dropped, and oh my goodness, it's like actually a really good story. But yeah, so if you want to stay tuned for that, definitely sub, like. I know I already said that, but yeah, that's really about it. So I'll see y'all.